Bolvar 4 Dragon versus the Lich King. Who truly controls the Scourge? Dramatic music plays as the camera pans over the icy landscapes of Northrend. Undead armies march relentlessly across frozen plains, clattering armor and eerie growls echoing in the cold air. Close-up shots of ghastly undead warriors, the ominous blade Frostmourne, and the enigmatic Helm of Domination flash across the screen. Hey guys! So here's a question that's been swirling around the taverns of Azeroth for ages. Who really controls the Scourge? Is it Bolvar 4 Dragon, the fiery paladin turned Lich King? Or is it still under the shadowy influence of Arthas Menethil? Today, we're diving deep into the frosty lore to unpack this epic tale of power, corruption, and redemption. Stick around as we journey from the origins of the Scourge through the tragic fall of Arthas to Bolvar's heavy burden atop the frozen throne. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. The origins of the Scourge. Alright, let's kick things off at the beginning. Glowing Star, the Burning Legion, those cosmic bad guys, are scheming to invade Azeroth again, but this time, they want to soften us up first. Enter the Scourge, a massive undead army designed to wreak havoc and weaken the world's defenses. To control this army, they needed a puppet. Enter Ner'zhul, an orc shaman who really should have read the fine print before making deals with demons. Jaden, one of the Legion's big bosses, tricks Ner'zhul, and when things go south, Ner'zhul gets ripped apart. Literally! But wait, it gets worse. His spirit is bound to a suit of armor and frozen inside a block of ice in Northrend. Ice! Say hello to the first Lich King. Imprisoned within the frozen throne, Ner'zhul's new job is to spread a plague of undeath across Azeroth. No biggie, right? And just like that, the Scourge is born, a terrifying force, aiming to turn everyone and everything into undead minions. Yikes! The rise of Arthas Menethil. Now let's talk about Arthas Menethil, the golden boy turned Dark Lord. Crown Arthas was the crown prince of Lord Aeron and a paladin of the Silver Hand. He's the guy everyone rooted for, handsome, brave, and dedicated to protecting his people. But heroes can fall, and boy did he fall hard. When the undead plague started creeping into his kingdom, Arthas took it upon himself to stop it. This led to the infamous culling of Stratholme, where he decided the only way to save his people was, quote, to kill them before they turned undead. Harsh. Haunted by his actions, Arthas chased the source of the plague all the way to Northrend. There, he found Frostmourne, a rune blade that promised the power to save his people. Ignoring all the red flags, like the creepy whispers and ominous glow, he takes up the sword. Surprise! It's cursed! Fearful face. By claiming Frostmourne, Arthas sacrifices his soul and becomes the champion of the Lich King, eventually merging with Ner'zhul and taking on the mantle himself. Talk about a career change. The Lich King's reign. With Arthas as the new Lich King, things go from bad to worse for Azeroth. He leads the Scourge in devastating campaigns across the land. Remember Quel'Thalas? Yeah, he pretty much raised it, slaughtering the High Elves and raising Sylvanas Windrunner as a banshee to serve him. Arthas wielded the Scourge like a sledgehammer, crushing any who stood in his way. His methods were brutal, enslaving the minds of the living, raising the dead, and spreading terror wherever he went. Under his reign, the Scourge became an unstoppable force, and entire civilizations fell, and the threat of complete annihilation loomed over Azeroth. It was a dark time, folks. Real dark. Bolvar 4 Dragon's story. Now let's shift gears and talk about Bolvar 4 Dragon, a true hero of the Alliance. Shield Bolvar was a noble paladin and served as the regent of Stormwind, while King Valerian Rin was, let's say, indisposed. He was the steady hand guiding the kingdom, beloved by the people for his wisdom and courage. During the Northrend campaign against the Lich King, Bolvar led the Alliance forces to the very doorstep of Icecrown Citadel. At the Battle of the Wrathgate, things took a nasty turn. The Scourge forces were tough, but the Alliance and Horde were making headway. Then, out of nowhere, Grand Apothecary Putris and some rogue Forsaken unleashed a deadly plague on both armies. Total betrayal! Dagger Bolvar was caught in the onslaught. To make matters worse, the Red Dragonflight, trying to contain the plague, unleashed cleansing flames over the battlefield. Bolvar was engulfed in fire and presumed dead, but in Azeroth, unless you see a body, don't count anyone out. Bolvar becomes the Lich King. Fast forward to the raid on Icecrown Citadel. Adventurers finally bring down Arthas, with a huge assist from Tyrion Fordring, who shatters Frostmourne with the Ashbringer. Epic moment! Glowing star, with Arthas defeated, everyone breathes a sigh of relief. But hold on, the Scourge doesn't just disappear. Without the Lich King's control, the undead would run amok, causing untold destruction. Someone needed to take the mantle and keep the Scourge in check. Enter Bolvar, who, surprise surprise, wasn't dead after all. Burned and tortured, but alive. Despite everything, Bolvar steps up. He knows the weight of the sacrifice, but accepts it anyway. Donning the helm of domination, he becomes the new Lich King, but vows to keep the Scourge dormant. I will be the jailer of the damned. No one must know what I have done. Heavy stuff. Bolvar takes on this grim responsibility to save the world. Talk about a hero, the nature of Bolvar's control. So how did Bolvar handle being the Lich King? It's not exactly a dream job. Grimace Bolvar's control over the Scourge was more about containment than domination. He wasn't interested in conquest or wielding power. Instead, he fought a constant internal battle to maintain his humanity and resist the corrupting influence of the helm. Unlike Arthas, who embraced the darkness, Bolvar remained isolated atop Icecrown Citadel, ensuring the Scourge remained dormant. His leadership was marked by sacrifice and duty, not tyranny. For years, the Scourge was quiet. No massive undead armies marching on cities, no new plagues unleashed. It seemed Bolvar had things under control, the helm of domination and its power. Let's talk about that spiky hat, the helm of domination, military helmet. Crafted by the Nathrazim, or Dreadlords, the helm was designed to control the Scourge and dominate the will of those who wore it. It's not just a fancy helmet, it's a conduit of immense, dark power. The helm has a corrupting influence, whispering to the wearer, trying to bend them to its will. Ner'zhul, Arthas, Bolvar, they all felt its pull, but each dealt with it differently. It also serves as a sort of antenna, connecting the Lich King to the Shadowlands and, unbeknownst to many, to the jailer. A sinister figure pulling strings from the realm of death. Is the power in the helm, or the person wearing it? Hold that thought. Events leading to Shadowlands. And then, there's Sylvanas Windrunner. Oh boy, things get spicy here. Fire Sylvanas, having her own beef with the cycle of life and death. Can't blame her, really. Strikes a deal with the jailer. She wants to shatter the status quo and is willing to take on anyone to do it. She confronts Bolvar at Icecrown Citadel in an epic showdown. The fight is intense. Bolvar wields the power of the Lich King, but Sylvanas has newfound abilities that tip the scales. In a shocking move, she defeats Bolvar and does the unthinkable. She destroys the helm of domination. With a mighty tear, she rips it apart, and the sky shatters like glass. The veil between Azeroth and the Shadowlands is torn open. Fearful face. This isn't just breaking a helmet, it's breaking the boundaries between life and death. The Scourge unleashed. With the helm destroyed, there's no Lich King to control the Scourge. Cue the chaos! Zombie the undead start rampaging across Azeroth without purpose or direction, attacking anything and everything. Settlements that have enjoyed peace for years suddenly find themselves under siege. The Alliance and Horde scramble to respond. Heroes from all corners band together to defend their homes. It's like the zombie apocalypse hits Azeroth, and nobody was ready. Bolvar, no longer the Lich King but still very much alive, steps into a new role. He becomes an advisor, guiding adventurers into the Shadowlands to confront the new threats and hopefully fix this colossal mess. Talk about going from king to coach. Bolvar's not getting a break anytime soon. Comparative analysis. Alright, let's break it down. Bolvar versus Arthas. Who wore it better? Smirk. Motivations. Arthas was driven by a desire to save his people, but it morphed into a lust for power. The more he tried to control, the more he lost himself. Bolvar took on the role purely as a sacrifice. He had no ambitions for power. He just wanted to prevent further catastrophe. Methods of control. Arthas actively expanded the Scourge, conquering lands, and exerting his will over others. Bolvar kept the Scourge locked down, preventing them from causing more harm. Impact on Azeroth. Arthas's reign led to massive loss of life, the destruction of kingdoms, and a legacy of terror. Bolvar's tenure was relatively peaceful. The Scourge threat was minimized, allowing the world to recover. Strengths and weaknesses. Arthas was powerful but consumed by darkness. His inability to resist the helm's corruption was his downfall. Bolvar showed immense strength of will, resisting the helm's influence, but his isolation left him vulnerable to Sylvanas' assault. So, who had the upper hand? It's a toss-up, but their intentions make a huge difference. Who truly controls the Scourge? Now to the million-gold question: who really controls the Scourge? Thinking face. Is it the wearer of the helm, or is the helm controlling them? The Helm of Domination is a powerful artifact with its own agenda, influenced by the Jailer and the forces of the Shadowlands. We've seen that even strong-willed individuals like Arthas and Bolvar were affected by the helm's corrupting whispers. The Scourge, at times, acted beyond the direct commands of the Lich King, suggesting that the control isn't absolute. Maybe the Scourge is a force that can't be fully mastered, only guided or restrained. Final assessment. Arthas controlled the Scourge through domination and fear, expanding their numbers and influence. Bolvar, on the other hand, sought to contain them, acting more as a warden than a ruler. In terms of effective control, Bolvar kept the Scourge in check without unleashing them upon the world, which arguably is a more challenging feat given the corrupting nature of the helm. So perhaps Bolvar held true control, not by wielding the Scourge, but by restraining it. What a journey, right? From the tragic fall of Arthas to Bolvar's noble sacrifice, we've seen two very different approaches to the same daunting role. Arthas' legacy is one of devastation and sorrow, a cautionary tale of how good intentions can pave the way to darkness. Bolvar's legacy, however, is one of sacrifice and resilience. Their actions have indelibly shaped Azeroth's history, leading us to the current turmoil with the Shadowlands and the Unleashed Scourge. So what do you guys think? Who truly controlled the Scourge, the Conqueror or the Protector? Is control about power or responsibility? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for hanging out and diving deep into the lore with me. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Bell, got a topic you want me to cover? Drop it in the comments below. Until next time, keep your swords sharp and your wits sharper. Peace out, Scissor.